So from what I've discovered so far, it appears that the F4E doesn't have an oil pressure warning light, or telly light as they call it. So what that means for you is you're going to have to include the oil pressure gauge in your regular scan of your engine instrumentation. Otherwise, the only way you'll spot an engine oil pressure being low are probably some grinding noises and perhaps the engine deciding it wants to quit. I stand to be corrected if anyone's found an oil pressure light. If you have, let me know. So we're out in the operating area, just preparing for RTB, formatting again on the leader, and we happen to notice in a quick scan of our instrumentation that the oil pressure is low on the left engine. Now what I'm going to do here is use a set of FGR2 FRCs. They won't be entirely representative because it talks about oil pressure captions and the like, but the drill is essentially the same. The other point to note is that the FRCs will talk about having a RAT, a ram air turbine. That is not going to be here because the F4E doesn't have one. So we'll skip over the lines when the things aren't actually fitted to the aeroplane. So we've noticed the oil pressure is low. We know this is boldface. What is boldface? Well, boldface means a bold typeface. And you test it on this every year or so on the squadron. And what it means is that if it's in boldface, you need to do those actions by memory. Doesn't mean you rush into them, but it means you don't take the time to take the FRCs out. It's something you should know what to do when it occurs. And in addition to that, you need to know the condition. So the condition in the boldface, let's take a look at these FGR2 FRCs. So the condition we have on the cards is if it's greater than 1G, then we know that that is not a negative G issue, which can cause you oil pressure issues. Take a look at the slot below, you'll see what I'm talking about. So the boldface actions mean that we need to know that yes, it's 1G or above, therefore it is clearly an oil pressure problem. Next action is to shut down the engine. So we do that. And the way we do that is we've identified what the problem is. We agree with each other, oil pressure low on the left engine. It's 1G or more, shutting the engine down. The left throttle will be coming to off. It gives the backseater a chance to say, wait a minute, you said it was the right engine, if I'd got the wrong engine. So we've got to confirm we have the correct engine. It has been known for the wrong engine to be shut down. Now we need to think about aviating, navigating, communicating. That's the standard methodology that we use when flying any aeroplane. It's a level of priorities. Part of my aviation now is to secure the aeroplane, make sure it's flying, make sure I'm not hitting anything. But also, I probably will at this point communicate with my leader and tell him, right, we've got a snag, we're going to divert because I know this is a land as soon as possible when we shut an engine down. Then we're going to navigate to where we divert to, and then we'll tell air traffic control in our communication phase who we are, what we want, where we're going, and everybody out of the way. So as a formation, we've formulated a plan between us. Do I need him to come with me? Do I need any assistance? What I might do is have him still lead us to where we need to go. He will handle all the radios, and he will just leave us be. Just stay out of the way while we go in and fly a nice, long, straight-in, easy approach with one engine. Ideally, what we want to be doing is a long, straight-in approach. Depending on the weight of the aeroplane, the handling performance will be slightly different, of course, but what you can end up with is a lot of power on the engine with quite substantial sink rates. So if you start doing funky tight circuits, you're going to end up in a world of trouble. Take the easy way out. If it's bad weather, you do an ILS or a PAR, nice long straight-in vectoring. And if it's good weather, just as we're about to do here, you just do a nice long straight-in approach to an airfield you're familiar with, or whatever your chosen diversion is. Points to note on our approach. Nice long straight-in approach as we've discussed already. Keep the backseater informed about what you're doing. He will be watching you like a hawk, and he should be, because you can, as I say, generate very large sink rates. I do recall my time in a Tornado on a single engine approach. Generally speaking, we'd be at max dry on a good engine. And as you watch this approach, you'll see that's pretty much where I end up, and we're not that heavy on fuel. You must be really aware of your energy state and don't let anything sag too much. Couple of times on this approach, you'll have heard that I've gone into the full 19 alpha, which is a normal approach. And if we look at the manual, we can see a maximum of 17 units. So we're quite close to the normal sort of approach mode. But in this case, we want to be at 17. So my advice to you is stay off the constant tone and just get the beeping tone that it's going to give you as we ease off to 17. Remember, nothing changes in the landing principle. We aim for the numbers. Don't go for the touchdown point. Runway behind you is utterly wasted. So you will pass low over the hedge like we do on every circuit we should be doing in a military fast jet. So on this approach, I'm going to show you a go-around just to give you an idea of how much asymmetric thrust we've got. It's controllable and a very strong push required on the good leg. A top tip, as you make your approach, don't assume it's all going to go well. In your mind, rehearse what your actions will be, specifically which foot you will push forward as you make the go-around. As the manual says, we initiate the go-around with the afterburner, keeping 17 units until we're climbing, but retract the gear straight away. You might still be going down, but once that power bites, you'll be going up. Allow the aeroplane to accelerate past 200 knots and bring the flaps in. A difference you'll see here, of course, from the flight reference cards and from the way the Royal Air Force aircraft do it, the K and the M, what you found there is there's a half flap setting, and you would have done this approach in half flap. So we are short on power, relatively speaking, because we are stuck with full flap or no flap. So we've got all that extra drag on the approach because we're in the F4E model. So that's it, guys. Go and practice some single engine stuff. Remember, we want to be that container of excellence. We want to be better virtual pilots, not just a guy that can ripple off 8 AMRAAMs. What we want to be able to do is bring the jet home after we've done that. So these kind of skills are the things that will make you a better virtual pilot. Fly safe.